Hello everyone. In today's video, we will be talking about more problems with percentages. Now, today we're going to be discussing a different kind of problem from yesterday, because yesterday we learned how to answer the question, what is some percentage of the total? So questions like, what is 30% of 50, or what is 24% of 9, or what is 65% of 200, questions like that are in that order. So what is this percent of a total? Today, we will be learning how to answer the question, what percentage of the total is some number, a part of the total? So basically, percentage problems come down to three pieces that you have. You're going to have two, and you're going to be looking for the third one. You're going to use the two that you have to find the third one. The three pieces that you have are the part of the total, the percentage of the total, and the total itself. To give you an example, this right here, the first line, on this first line, I have all three pieces. This isn't a problem. It's just something, it's a fact. It says 15 is 10% of 150. So this is the case of me having all three pieces. 15, which is the part of the total, is 10%, me knowing the percentage of the total that I have of 150. I know the total. So this we're actually going to make a little lighter because it doesn't really matter all that much, because it's not a problem. Yesterday we talked about problems that ask us, what is 10% of 150? It asks us, it gives us the total, it gives us the percentage, and it asks us to find what part of the total is that percentage, basically. So again, problems like 10% of 150, or 20% of 120, or 30% of 40. Problems like that. So that's the kind of problem we discussed yesterday, and we showed how to solve that kind of problem. Today, we're going to be talking about the third kind of problem, where I know a part of the total, I know the total, and I'm looking for the percentage. Okay? The third kind of problem, where I have a part, I have a percentage, and I'm looking for the total, that is a kind of problem that we're going to talk about next week. So I'm also going to make it a little lighter, because right now that also doesn't matter. So what we're looking into today is this kind of problem. 15 is what percentage of 150? To give you an example of a problem where this might come in handy, I'm going to write a problem like that. Here we have a problem like that, where it says, out of a class of 80 students, 32 are boys. What percentage of the class are boys? Now, just the question, what percentage, should tip you off that we have this kind of problem, because it says here, what percent? So it's this kind of problem. Now, how do I solve this kind of problem? What I need to do, basically, is divide the part by the total. And you need to be able to tell apart the total from the part. So you need to think of what in this problem is the whole and what is the part. It says here that there's a class of 80 students and 32 are boys. So the whole, the entirety, is the entire class, the 80 students. Now that's a little too much, but okay. 80 students, the entire class. And the part is the 32 boys who are part of the classroom, but they're not the whole classroom. The whole classroom is 80 students. So what I need to do is 32 divided by 80. Once I find this, I need to multiply it by 100. The specifics of why I multiply it by 100 are something that we could get into at some later point next week. But right now, this is what you have to keep in mind. I said I have to divide 32 by 80 and then multiply whatever I find by 100. 80 divided by 32 would give me a result of 0.4. And I have to multiply that, as we said, by 100. 0.4 times 100 makes 40. So my answer should be that 40% of the class are boys. That's my answer. It's as simple as that. Divide the part by the total and then multiply it by 100. But be careful, because the important thing here is that you need to know that you're in this type of problem. Basically, when we're doing percentages, it's a matter of identifying what kind of problem you've been given. And to figure that out, you need to figure out what the problem is giving you and what the problem is asking of you. If it's which of the two pieces has it given you, and what's the third piece it's looking for? Has it given you the percent and the total? Then you're looking for the part. Has it given you the part and the total? Then you're looking for the percent. And depending on what it's given you and what you're looking for, you need to apply the methods that we've shown so far, at least. So in the case of yesterday, where we had the percentage and the total, we took, let's say here, it asks what is 10% of 150. I would say 10 100ths times 150, and I found what that was. Here today we have the part, we have the total, we divide the two, and then we multiply by 100. Okay, let's see another problem like that. Okay, so let's see problem 2. Problem 2 says there are 350 fruits at a supermarket. 49 are oranges. What percentage are the oranges? So again, I have a problem where I am given the total, I am given a part, and I'm being asked what the percentage is. So immediately my mind should go to this kind of problem, problem type number 2. Part, total, looking for the percentage. So what's the part and what's the total? Well, the total is all the fruits inside the supermarket, so 350. This goes on the bottom. And what's the part? Part is the oranges. So 49. So I need to do 49 divided by 350, and then whatever I find, I need to multiply it by 100. If I do 49 divided by 350, the way we showed over the past few weeks, we would find 0.14. And I need to multiply that. By 100. So what I would get is 14. So 14% of the fruits are oranges. Next, I'm going to write 2 problems, and I want you to try and identify which is which method you should use on each of these problems. Okay, so let's solve problem 3 together. John spends 16% of his income on paying the bills. If he makes 800 euros, how much money does he spend on paying the bills? So, and let's actually read problem 4 as well. Catherine made 800 euros in the past month. If she spent 200 euros on paying the bills, what percentage of her income did she spend on paying the bills? So I want you to pause the video, try and solve these two problems on your own, then unpause to see how they're solved. Okay, so pause the video in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so you solved them, and you're back to see how they're solved. So, problem number 1. If you read carefully, you'll notice that this problem gives you a percentage. That means right away that we're in this category. We're in the first kind of problem, the kind that we solved yesterday. It tells us that John spends 16% of his income, which is 800 euros, on paying the bills. And it asks us how much money that is. So we want to find 16% of 800. So let's do that the way that we did yesterday. We're going to do 16 over 100. Times 800. Okay, so firstly, we need to do this multiplication. So 16 times 800. 16 times 800 makes 12,800. And then I need to divide this by 100. Because the denominator stays the same, like we said yesterday. So I cross out these zeros, and what I'm left with is 128. So John spends 128 euros on paying the bills. Okay, so my answer should be John spends 128 euros paying the bills. Next, the problem says Catherine made 800 euros in the past month that she spent 200 euros on paying the bills. What percentage of her income did she spend on paying the bills? Again, like we said before, this question, this part, just gives it away. So asking what percentage immediately means that, oh, I'm looking for the percentage. So I have the part, I have the total, I need to find the percentage. So what's the part? The part is the amount of money that goes to paying the bills. The total is her total income, the amount of money that she makes in a month. So in this case, I need to divide the part, 200, by the total, so 800, and multiply what I find by 100. 200 divided by 800 makes 0.25. And I need to multiply this by 100. 0.25 times 100 makes 25. So Catherine spends 25% of her income on paying the bills. My answer should be Catherine spends 25% of her income on paying the bills. I want you to notice that the difference between these two is basically I swapped these two. They have the same total. They both make 800 euros per month. Okay. but here I've swapped them around, basically. Okay, in the first problem where I have the percentage, I have the total, I'm looking for the part, I divide by 100, I multiply by 800. In the second problem, where I'm looking for the percentage, I divide by 800 and I multiply by 100, which is the reverse of what I did in the first problem. I divide by the total, multiply by 100. So you can try and keep that in mind if that helps to remember that at all. And that's basically how we solve these kinds of problems. We'll do more of these over the coming week, and also we're going to discuss the third kind of problem. Okay, so that was all for today. Hope you guys have a good weekend, and see you again on Monday.